So we're at Felixstowe, seafront. It is Saturday the 15th of August. It's about 5 or nearly 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm about to run up and down the seafront for 6 hours. 48 miles is the target, but really the whole idea is to practice a food strategy because at the end of 2021, in September 2021, we're going to be doing a 24-hour self-transcendence ultra-marathon.
Who's here with us?
So you've got the team, which is Johnny Arlo and Timothy Britton, and the man who is holding the camera, which is Andrew Laws. Andrew's my brother-in-law.
Hello.
John and Tim, two of my oldest and dearest friends, which is lovely to see them here by the sea at 4 a.m. in the morning.
This is the day one of Mark's journey into the 24-hour racing competitive world. So we're doing a 6-hour run along the Felixstowe front, where Mark is task number one, working on food strategies. So we are trying to get Mark to learn to trickle food into his body, keeping his energy up just a nice sustained level, but not putting too much in. So we're working on that because when he's done a 24-hour race before, it didn't quite go to plan. Number two, we're aiming for 48 miles in total in 6 hours, which will keep Team GB interested. Means he's on target for hitting all of his points. It means that his training's going all in the right direction. And then target 3 is if he does hit 48 miles and has time to spare, we've decided that he's going to keep running until he hits the 6-hour mark to see just how far we can push him in that 6 hours. So yeah, a few different things to work on this morning. He's gone out, he's been away for nearly his first mile. He should be done, so we should see him in about 8 to 9 minutes. He should be back down at the start, and that will be half of his warm-up done. Then he'll do another lap, which is another 2 miles, and that'll be his full warm-up done, and then I'll expect him for the next hour to just be solidly running 7-minute miles, nice and fast, nice and quick. But as you can see, it is, I don't know if you can see, but our look is here, and you just look into the darkness and he's down there somewhere. So it'll be a nice start for it. And then we're here just to support him, get him his water, get him his food, heat up his pasta at 5:30 a.m. when he wants it.
We've broken Mark's run down today into sections. So he's running out for a mile and back for a mile, and we call that his lap. So that's 1 lap, and he's got 24 laps to do to hit his target. But in Barcelona, everything was 24. So he was just everything in his head just kept thinking 24, 24, 24, and it's too big a task. It's too much for us to kind of comprehend what you're trying to do or trying to achieve, because it's just, you can't grasp what you should be doing in 24. Like, he ran 210 kilometers in 24. Like, you can't get that in your head. So we're trying to say what you've got to do is break it down into much more manageable sections, manageable chunks. So we know that every lap, every 2 miles in the first hour, 2 hours, we should be seeing him every 15 minutes. So it's nice and quick, and then it will get a little bit slower and a little bit slower as the time goes on. So the idea is that when we get to the next races in Barcelona, we'll do the same thing, but we'll just have 24 hours. So that will be 24 sections of a race, and each section will get broken down into 15-minute sections or chunks, or each section requires 10 laps, and it makes it more manageable. Because in Barcelona, whereas this is quite fun, you know, we're down here in the pitch black of the morning drinking coffee and chatting while John's wearing his boots. But Barcelona was just clocking someone running around a track, and Mark runs around a track in like no time at all, in like 48 seconds. You know, he's just like, and you're trying to clock it. it was just a crazy experience.
So the Barcelona one, will that be the same place again?
No. So the idea is we are going to be going for Tooting. We're going to be running the Tooting 24-hour. We are not going to be running. Mark will be running the Tooting 24-hour race in 2021, so next year. So we've got around 14 months, I think, left before he's going to do that, and then by then everything should be harnessed and honed in. And the problem is that he can't really practice a 24-hour race. It takes you weeks to recover from a 24-hour race, months sometimes to recover, because your body is so battered.
So after this then, what? Right, so you got 6 hours now.
Yeah.
How will we increase that?
So Mark's running coach, Rory Coleman, is working with him on his actual running strategy, on how he's moving, how he progresses out. So he's been doing 120-mile weeks. So every week he clocks up 120 miles. And the idea is you're basically bulletproofing your body. Your body is becoming able to deal with and cope with the strain and the tolerance that it was required.
Yeah.
And then all we're going to do is just condense that down. So he just winds up doing longer and longer and longer and longer runs. So
the next one could be like 8 hours or something.
Yeah. So but then we just have to periodically figure out how much time he needs to rest and recover from it. So today he's going to run 48 miles in 6 hours, which is a quarter of what he's going to have to do.
So what has he done already this week?
So this week he hasn't been running anywhere near as much. He's tapered down this week, had it a bit easier because of what he's going to go into.
So he already knew this was happening, so I need to just do little short
Exactly.
ones.
So everything gets worked back. So basically the run program will go from Tooting, and then we start working backwards on the timeline as to what needs to happen. And then just like the race, we break that into sections. Each section gets broken up again and again and again until we're working into every day and what he's got to do. And he's got a small short holiday away in a week's time, or not even a week's time, in a few days' time he leaves, where he's going to go abroad. He'll do some running in the heat, which will be good training for him. He'll have a few treats and he'll let himself enjoy it. But then after that, his diet starts to get dialed in. He's had his race weight come in last night, and what his actual weight is. He's 3 kilos heavy today. So he's 63 kilos today, and he needs to be 60 kilos when he's going to be running a race.
So basically he just needs a dump.
Not yeah.
Preferably
Eloquently,
not while he's running.
No.
That can happen too.
Yeah. What role do you have with Mark? How do you help him out with the running side of stuff?
So with Mark, he comes to me with a few hamstring injuries, issues, not really an injury yet, but I think we've been working a lot on strength and conditioning, so running techniques, strengthening his posterior chain, and just overall keeping him a lot more better mobile. So we're working a lot with mobility as well. So that all of those three things together will help reduce the risk of him becoming injured through what is an excessive overuse sport.
It does a lot. So how often is that? Is it like, how often do you have to work?
So Mark's got a weekly programme that he follows, so you can do stuff at home to work with the proprioception work, balancing and mobility, and then he sees me also twice a week for one-to-one sessions doing some better, proper heavy lifting. Yeah.
Nice. And going forward with him, what areas have you got to really work hard with him?
Mobility wise, again, sometimes he can get a little bit lazy and doesn't really do the stuff that he should be doing, and that's noticeable within the session. So I know sometimes when he's moving a bit poorly on the floor doing some mobility work, then I just spend a little bit more time with him to make sure that he's carrying him out and just feeling a little bit more freer. And then also just giving him a lot more advice in terms of like the nutrition side and things like staying hydrated and what foods he should be eating, and also some elements of clothing as well, like compression guards, like calf guards, trainers, t-shirts, vests, that kind of stuff like that, to making sure that he's using the right stuff so he's not chafing, getting cramps or anything else like that.
If something major happens in the next couple of weeks with him, say he pulls something really bad, are you the person to turn around to him and say, you need to stop?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think as an endurance coach as well, I work with like many cyclists and triathletes, and so my whole role as being a coach is to make sure that people aren't becoming overtrained or doing too much. So he will work with Rory, his other running coach, and we would work together. But essentially, when a time comes, if he is doing something and he has got a bit of a niggle, then I say, right, well, perhaps you need to bring back your training a little bit more, and then we'll find out where it is that's having the trouble, and then getting him fixed as soon as possible, but as safely as possible. So.
Yeah, he's his own man sometimes, isn't he?
Definitely, yeah.
Do you find that that mindset is quite hard sometimes to break and sort of say, no, you're going to have to stop now, or like back off a bit from doing what you're doing?
No, not at all really, because in my field of work with him, he's in my environment. So
you're the boss.
Yeah. So he probably wouldn't listen to me if I told him to stop running here today, but within the gym and in my facility, then I'll be like, okay, right now we should just wind it in a little bit and just let's take a back seat and just work on something that's obviously not going to be as intense, or it's going to create even more fatigue for him, so that he's not going to be able to train and do his running.
He's just a cold. That's what he's now saying. He's just full of snot, coughing and spluttering it up, and he just needs to clear it. But it's because he can't breathe, because he can't get enough air in, his legs are tightening up. His legs start to seize up. And he's allowing his head to run away with him. So I was just kind of trying to have a casual word and be like, look, take control of your thoughts, take control of what you're doing, why you're doing what you're doing, settle down, you've had food, you've had water, you've told me now it's just a cold, so effectively shut and get on with it.
Yeah.
Now he's only got 16 miles to go now, so I'm like, it's a casual Saturday run for you. So at the turn, it's a fresh run, it's a fresh race, off you go. So he can do it, he's got to decide now in his head whether he's prepared to just carry on. He's either going to make it harder for himself or easier, but it's up to him how he thinks about it. Top of the mouth has gone really dry up the top there, so it's just like the cold is winning. I can't get any breath in. And the thing is, we could push on, but I just don't see the point in absolutely killing myself today. I can't breathe. I just know that at this stage I shouldn't be feeling like this. What we've got to figure out is, this is the joy of the journey, in that we know it's not been a great week preparation wise because of sleep and hot weather. We're not at the track. We had to get up at 4 a.m. to come here. It's been raining. I've had a cold, all those sort of things. So it's not been great preparation. In the end,
Like, I'm really pleased with that because the food works. The milkshake was brilliant. Absolutely spot on. And 36 miles on the back of a lockdown, COVID lockdown, 120 miles a week for the last, since March the 23rd. You know, and also the other thing is a race is on the horizon now. So we've entered that Druid race. So a fresh block of training starts on Monday. What's the point in absolutely killing myself today?
I agree.
I'm always pleased because you do it, but I think it's just, you know, it's just a massive learning curve.
Well, like you said, if he's not feeling great, there's no point pushing it. Hindsight, you probably could have made that. We probably could have called it.
Honestly, are you gutted that he called it?
Of course. But do I think it was the right physical choice? Yes. Do I think it was the right choice to develop his mental toughness? No. Would I have liked him to push more to work his mental strength? Yes, because it would harness him. It would almost kind of bulletproof his mind the way that we're trying to work his legs. But I also don't see the point in doing that. You know, like he said, he's been doing an awful lot of running, huge big mileage. There's some races coming up. He's not well. I think what we need to do is we need to try to work on making sure he's healthy and well for when he has races that really matter.